Well, today is kind of a sad day. Not really. I'm selling the original 1970 Trans Am tomorrow, and I had a lot of fun with this car. It was the first car that I really built as a performance-oriented muscle car. Applying all the knowledge I had learned about cars then, which was really what all the guys did back in the late 60s, early 70s in the SCCA Trans Am racing. That's all the type of mods that I did to this car. And then I raced it in the Optima Ultimate Street Car Association, track day events, autocross, speed stop, and the car was amazing. Always got great D&E scores, design and engineering, because of the originality of the car and how I kept it looking pretty factory. And has an original Pontiac motor in it. Huge oil cooler up here for the track. All the Herb Adams modifications for the bracing. There's the remote oil filter, electronic ignition, modified steering box. Power steering pump, where it comes out here to a cooler. It's actually, there you go, you can see the cooler lines come in there. And it's a big cooler that goes across there for the power steering. Remote finned reservoir, manual brakes. Tons of mods on this car, yet I still have all the original components down in the basement. But anyway, a buddy of mine actually fell in love with the car, and so I'm kind of keeping it in the family, selling it to a good friend. And you guys are going to love my next project. Let me turn this light off. My next project is a hell of a car. One of the more complicated cars to work on, I think. But I'm looking at a 6970 Mercedes 300 SEL 6.3, which was the most powerful, fastest sedan of its day. 400 pounds of torque, big V8 Mercedes engine, yet all the luxury and accoutrements of a luxury sedan. And they're really awesome cars, air suspension, but they're way more complicated to work on than these cars. Of course, the car that I've replaced that with is my track car, which is a 70 Firebird, which that was the next iteration. I'd learned a ton more about engineering and how to build a proper track car, and all of that went into this car. Because I was limited on what I could do here because I didn't want to cut this car up. I wanted to keep it original, but this was a Firebird that I made look like a Trans Am, and this car was cut up a good bit with a full roll cage in it. So I'm not totally getting rid of the, but yeah, that's a 70, and I had a lot of fun with this car. Super rare car, really cool car. Show you the inside. The original seats are downstairs, and of course those are going with the car. Original steering wheel, all the original stuff. But see, it's got a tiger cage in here now for track day events. You can put your harness up there, and of course your water, oil temperature, oil pressure, some aftermarket gauges. And then a good steering wheel for the track that has good suede grip on it. But this car is, it's a beast. I've had it rode Atlanta, had it all over the country at racetracks. But yeah, it's nothing really compared to this one. Of course, that has a Chevy engine in it, but this is over 600 horsepower and full-on racing setup, or I guess as far as you can go with a stock subframe. Subframe has been cut up and modified. But I'll always keep this beauty here, 69 GTO. it's just a super classy, super nice car. You know, you feel a little arrogant and like a show off if you take this out in public. You know, it's a little loud, you know, a little gaudy. But in this car, you feel really good taking it out. Has good street manners, 600 horsepower stroker motor, but it's just super classy. But anyway, this is the last video. The buyer, good friend of mine, is coming in the morning, and he'll see this video, I'm sure, on my YouTube channel. But this is a great car. A lot of passion, a lot of time, a lot of love went into making this car. And it's rock solid. No corners were cut whatsoever. And that's really, we were talking about that, and that's the difference between buying a car like this from one of those online dealers or a private seller. Because, you know, as a private seller, I put my blood, sweat, and tears into making this car and doing it correct and doing it honestly. And man, it's a hell of a car. So this is the, so yeah, try to go with private sellers. Keep the cars in the family. The dealers are just trying to make a buck, and they don't always tell you the truth. But this is an amazing car. Anyway, so I'm looking at some Mercedes 300 SEL 6.3s, and I'm going to pick one up maybe in the next week or so. Just take the money from this car, put it into one of those, and that's going to be a hell of a project. But they're amazing cars. And you know, I'm getting a little older, so I want a hot rod that's comfortable, you know. And if you want that, you kind of go Mercedes performance, you know, vintage Mercedes. And it's also kind of the next level of learning how to work on these old cars. Mercedes, or the German engineering, is much more intricate and complex than American muscle cars. It's a whole different ball game, but it's beautiful the way the engineers do those cars. So anyway, I'll start posting some videos when I find one of those, and you guys will see the whole journey. So thanks for watching, you guys.